I extend my hand, inviting you to step with me into fantasy. Release your hold on that which you know to be true, and let imagination rule for the next few hours. Last time, our adventurers found themselves conscripted by the Flaming Fist and ordered by Captain Zaj to root out the cultists of the Dead Three that are taking advantage of the current crisis in Baldur's Gate to sow murder and mayhem. Following a hint from Captain Zaj, they traveled to the Elfsong Tavern to speak to Tarina to find out what information she might have on the location of the cultists. After protecting her from a vicious attack from Deadeye and his group of thugs, they were able to convince her to reveal what she knew. There is a bathhouse not far from the Elfsong Tavern in Heapside. There have been cultists seen moving in and out, especially at night. She has never been in herself, but she has heard rumors of a secret door that leads to a dungeon, something to do with the sewers below. After getting this information, the adventurers departed the Elfsong Tavern and went their separate ways, each to their home, scattered throughout Baldur's Gate. Falkrunn. After the events at the Elfsong, you returned to the Shrine of Suffering in Heapside. The Shrine of Suffering is in Heapside. This is not far from the Basilisk Gate, where you met with Captain Zaj earlier in the day. This simple stone shrine to Ilmater, god of martyrs and patient endurance, stands in a small, quiet square. The edges of its plaza are thick with the pallets and meager belongings of refugees, as well as the lower city's homeless, and you move carefully past the sleeping forms toward the simple structure that houses those that tend this shrine. It is small, even by dwarf standards, but it is well made, and there is a cot and a small closet-like chamber that you have use of. However, you find that it is occupied by at least 4 other individuals, all of whom appear to be quite old and frail. You turn to find Brother Hodges, a halfling priest and primary custodian of the shrine, standing before you. He leans on a staff with one arm, the other having been lost long ago. His back is bent, but his eyes twinkle with vibrancy, and though you have never seen him hurry, somehow he always finds the means to see to all who come to him for aid, be it with a bowl of broth, a few coppers, or a simple hand to hold in grief. Across his face and bald head, countless creases and wrinkles form a patchwork of kindness mingled with worry.
Morning, Father.
My apologies, sister, but the refugees have filled almost every corner we have.
We need never apologize. I say we do the good work.
Indeed. I believe there is still an empty spot or two by the shrine. Shall we?
Absolutely. I'll consider a fine respite to rest near the shrine.
Excellent. You make your way out of the hut and around to back where there is the shrine. It is very simple. It is a placard of darkly painted wood with 2 white hands painted on it and red ropes around the wrists, binding him. You do, in fact, see a couple of empty spots that you can lay out your your bedrolls in, and
Bedroll, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and Brother Hodges has one for himself, and he puts it down next to you, and moving slowly but not complaining, he lies down next to you. No matter how many times I do this, it reminds me of camping on the road between Silvery Moon and Sunderbar. If I really concentrate, I can almost imagine being 18 again.
You have told me many times of your camping trips. And I say, and I cherish each and every story you tell.
Well, it's a old man's prerogative to retell stories.
Well, would you wish to have my bedroll as well? And it's awfully cold and hard on the ground.
No, that wouldn't be necessary. How was your day with the Flaming Fist?
Eventful. It appears I'm to be called to do some work outside the city, I fear. It's the good work and to serve the people. Brother Hodges, these refugees that we are currently carrying, did you hear of from whence they came?
Oh, yes, from Elturel. You say you're called outside the city? With the Flaming Fist?
So we are to be working with the Flaming Fists to sort of to aid in what I fear may be the cause of this sudden influx of refugees.
Well, if that is indeed true, I hope you will be safe. I must say, while ours is certainly not the only place where Emitt's hand is needed, I cannot deny the timing of this conscription is inconvenient. If the Grand Duke were here, I feel certain he would never have given permission for one of our order to be parted from us during a refugee crisis.
True, but the unfortunate fact is that the Duke is not here. So I am called, and wherever I am called, I must go.
Well, indeed.
You'll be all right without me to help you tend to the shrine for a bit?
Oh, of course. I have my children to help me. But there is a presence in Baldur's Gate that I feel creeping over us like poison from an unclean wound. Our city, broken one steady hand, has never been a place for benevolent spirit, but things have gotten worse of late. First, the red web disease, then these refugees from Elturel. I fear that the next blow that falls will be more than the city can bear. To be honest, it feels similar to the time of troubles when Savervok sought to create his war of sacrifice with Am. Something or someone is here, feeding on and amplifying the darker natures of Baldurians. I feel in my soul that this path you are on now has been set for you by our God, and it may lead you to an answer to this riddle and beyond.
As always, I thank you for your insight. I trust your intuition more than I trust my own eyes most days. And I know that wherever we are called, we must go. Though I deeply hope that things are not so dire as you would have them believed to be.
Hope is one of the brightest gift our God can bestow. Hold on to it tightly, Falkrunn.
Clutch it as I do my hammer.
Sleep well.
And you.
At that moment, two middle-aged halflings run in. They are Brother Hodges' children, Hansen and Sissa. They are both middle-aged, but he still treats them as if they were no more than teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Hansen is holding a sack that is oozing with a greenish slime. Father, we found crawler spawn in the crypts. The church's only source of non-donation income is a twisting series of crypts that extends down from an entrance behind the altar, at several points piercing the city's sewers. For a small fee, anyone can have a corpse brought down into the cramped tomb, where hordes of sewer rats flood in to eat the flesh, leaving it mostly clean, the bones to be interred in the attached ossuary. While a somewhat ignoble end, it is often the only holy ground burial the city's poor can afford, and Brothers Hodges has always done his best to bring quiet dignity to the practice. Carrion crawler, and a fertile one at that. Such desecration cannot stand. Falkrunn, I know you have other matters to attend to, but I find it doubtful that an appeal to the Flaming Fist to aid will be met with swift results. If you have time, perhaps you could convince your fellow conscriptors to find and eliminate this creature.
Oh, I know I have not the gift of tongue that you have, but I'm sure I could be convincing.
Very well. Again, pleasant dreams. Take that away, Hansen. And his children leave, and you bed down underneath the shrine of Ilmater and sleep through the night. Silas.
Yes.
You return to your abode in the Steeps, which is here, close to the Elf Song Tavern. It's a boarding house that caters to elven folk, and it's known as Suvathin's Glen. You enter, and you must pass through the common room in order to reach the steps up to your apartment. Sitting by the fire, waiting for you, is Andrelor, his expression neutral, but his jaw clenched, and eyes radiating grim foreboding. The flickering flame makes his scars seem to extend beyond his cheek, and the frost-tipped braids that frame his face look dipped in blood. You were to meet me in the yard today, boy.
Yes. Unfortunately, I was set upon by the Flaming Fist to do their work. Not far from here, I found myself with some acquaintances of mine in an unfortunate situation. I do apologize.
The Flaming Fist. I see. And did you find their brand of righteousness more suited to your taste?
I did not. They're clumsy and barbaric. They don't understand. Not like you do, Andrelor. They don't understand, but I could not deny they're pressing people into service. They're requiring people go out. I attempted to act as I should with vigilance, but I found myself, of all things, in a fight in a tavern. But even there, I feel that the goddess's needs were served. Evil was snuffed.
A tavern brawl. Indeed. Truly a more fitting trial for the skills I have taught you, which I have attempted to teach you. Could it possibly exist? No doubt the lady herself looked upon your deeds and felt proud to have bestowed her favor on you. Tell me, in what way were the Telquisir served by our actions today? Did you and your human brothers lead a glorious charge against the enemies of the Seldarine?
No, Enderlord.
He stands. Baldur's Gate. It's a cesspool of corruption, and the sooner it is wiped off the face of Toril, the better. Pack your belongings. We're leaving in the morning.
What do you mean?
I mean, we are leaving in the morning, boy.
This is my home. I've never left Baldur's Gate.
It seems that you are under the misconception that you have a choice in this matter.
I had thought our mission, especially now with the refugees from Elturel, that I don't presume to know, but I thought that we would be in service here.
You thought wrong. Your training must continue. And there is a foulness here that does not sit well with me. We won't be able to defeat whatever is causing it until you are ready. And we will not be able to make you ready while we are here. And so, we will leave tomorrow. Pack your things and get some rest.
But what about
No buts, boy! He turns. The matter is closed. Do you do as he says?
I'm going to go up to my quarters and think for a moment. Andrelor has always been gruff, demanding. I don't have anyone else on the same path as I. He's the only one I've ever known. How could I go against my master? But this is my city. Even my father is still here. I will go back and think. It's still... I just don't know.
The events of the day weigh heavily on your eyes, and as you think, sleep finds you. The sounds of the day's events play across your consciousness. The scream of the foul-breathed pirate as you slash your weapon across his dead eye. The lascivious coo of the halfling who propositioned you. Persephone's whoop of excitement as she danced around her enemies. These sounds and more weave together into a cacophony that bubbles in your ears, gradually merging into a drone, and then the low howl of wind. You open your eyes. Before you stands a hill covered with thorns and brambles. The surrounding landscape fades into a swirling fog, and the sky is shale gray. You cannot tell if it is morning or night. At the apex of the hill, about 40 feet above you, a large winged form, a statue, looms in the mist. What do you do?
Going to walk towards the statue.
The ground is very difficult. The brambles seem to clutch at your clothing, your skin, your hair. But eventually you reach the foot of the statue. It is facing away from you, and you move around to look at it. The statue is that of a woman, sculpted from white marble faintly streaked with gray. It is weather-worn and chipped, stained here and there by moss and leaves. A long braid hangs down from distinctly elven features, and two massive feathered wings extend from its back. Looking at the face, the incredible skill of the sculptor is apparent. It almost breathes. It is so lifelike. A single tear of stone hovers at the edge of her far-reaching gaze. It is immediately clear to you that this is Vandria Gilmadreth, rendered in alabaster. Her expression alone would reveal her identity, deep sadness mixed with firm resolve. The statue's arms are raised with rounded fingers, as if she is meant to be holding something. What do you do?
I lower myself to my knees, gaze up.
At your feet, you find a long staff with a blade at the end. Not a spear, not a pike. The sword staff of the Seldarine. It is silver.
I reach down. Am I able to pick it up?
It's very heavy. Make a strength check. I say a athletics check.
$20.
You grasp it with both your hands, and the effort it takes to lift it is not from your muscles. You feel as if it's deeper, more part of you that is required to lift this weapon. You raise it, and it is in your arms.
Does it look like it would fit in the statue's hands?
It does.
Very slowly, I raise it up and do my best to place it in the hands of the statue, of my goddess.
There is a metallic ringing as the blade touches the stone. It fits perfectly into the fingers. And you hear a rustling behind you.
I turn to look at the noise.
Leading down from the front of the statue are two paths through the thorns that were not there before. To the right, you hear the distant sound of combat. Battle cries in Elven, the clash of weapons, the clarion call of a war horn, the piercing cry of some large bird of prey, perhaps a griffin. To your left, you hear the plaintive cries of forlorn anguish, the pain of unsurmountable loss, a child's panicked cries for its mother, a howl of grief so primal, you cannot tell if its source is male or female. left or right?
While I know that my lady must always be vigilant and must end war quickly, whenever possible, a battle as pitched as that would not benefit from my presence. But those who are suffering, perhaps I can assist them and administer to their grief. I go towards the sound of suffering.
You set down the path. You take a step, 2 steps. You hear a scraping sound from behind you.
I turn quickly.
The statue's head has turned and is now gazing directly at you.
I ask aloud, "My lady, is this what you wish? Is this my path?"
That staff sword seems to glow. And you hear another sound behind you. Something heavy hitting the path.
I spin again, looking for the sound and the source.
Standing before you is another statue. Massive. A fearsome warrior wearing spiked armor and a great helm. He holds a massive mace in his left hand, and his right hand is raised in a darkly colored fist.
And do I recognize this figure?
Make a religion check. This is obviously Bane, the god of conquest, and one of the dead 3.
So what are my choices here?
He is blocking your path.
It's a statue?
It is.
I'm going to have to knock it over.
Is that what you wish to do?
I'm going to try.
Make an athletics check. You reach out to touch it, and a burst of pain sears up your arm. But you maintain pressure and push against it, and it begins to crack. You push harder, and it cracks more. And even though you know that you don't have the strength to push over a statue this large, there is a heat that comes from behind you, fills you, and you're able to push your arm through the statue. And as you do, it crumbles into dust around you, and the path is clear.
I say a prayer of thanks to my Lady Vandria, and I go down the path.
You pass from this vision into a restful sleep, and you awaken at dawn. Andrelor is sitting much where you left him the night before. He does not appear to have slept. Are you ready, boy?
Andrelor, she visited me.
He is silent.
I was presented with choices. Vengeance, mercy, conquest. And Bane himself, an image, stood before me. With her strength, I was able to overcome. This place is so filled with suffering. As you said, it is a cesspit. But with the disaster in El Turel, it's even worse. I've grown. Even from last month, I am not the same. How can I leave my city? How can I leave people suffering? Help me, Andrelor. Help me understand.
He is silent. He is not looking at you.
Andrelor, you have guided me. You have helped me see the way to her. You have helped me to understand that there is more than myself. Help me now. What does this mean?
I will not be here when you return. But it seems your path is set.
Must you leave? You are the only understanding that I have here.
The path that she's called for you is a lonely one, Silas. I wanted to protect you from it, but that is not my path. You will need this. He reaches to a staff lying next to the fireplace, picks it up and unwraps the end of it, and it is a gleaming staff sword. And he hands it to you.
Andrelor, this was in my dream, my vision. I know I'm not a full elf. I know I can't rest via trance as so many do, but this was there. How did you have it for me?
Its name is Oranian, which you know means ever keen in Elvish. It was my son's. Wield it well.
Your sons?
Lost to the tribe of many arrows.
Damned orcs.
Silas. Nemarie. Remember, the heaviest stones make the strongest wall. And he sits back down, gazing in the fire. Dorin, you lie on your cot in the commissioned officer's wing of the sea tower. Your quarters are as Spartan as they come, but it is better than wallowing in the bilge, the soldier barracks, although not by much. You quarter with 3 other officers, all of whom are either asleep or on duty. The snores of a particularly ugly half-orc named Sweet William fill the chamber. and the smoldering coals in a nearby brazier make the old stonework around you glow crimson. Crimson. Did you clean your blade after the fight at the Elf Song? Surely you did, and yet something is pulling at you. Something you should do. Something to do with the blade, if you can even call it that. Tangled hunks of metal fused together in the shape of a blade would be more apt. Since finding it, you found it difficult to think about anything else. You've managed to keep the powers it's granted you a secret for the most part. Why? You don't know, but it seemed like the right thing to do. And you've endured the scorn of the other Flaming Fist officers who think your attachment to this strange piece of metal is ludicrous. You close your eyes, trying to find sleep, but the gnawing sensation remains. You will find no sleep until you check on the blade.
I'm going to, as stealthily as I can, go to the bit of light and draw the blade and look at it.
Make a stealth check.
Alrighty.
By the way, this is the Sea Tower, Sea Tower of Balderon.
It's a big 3.
Well, as you creep over there, you looking over to the side where you're pretty sure Sweet William is asleep, but then your foot catches and you look down and Sweet William is actually in the cot next to you. The echoes of the snores threw you off. He ale and goes back to sleep. He's obviously drunk.
Seems normal. Alright.
You make your way over to the brazier and remove the blade from its sheath.
Yeah, what do I see?
It seems clean enough.
There's no blood on it?
It's difficult to see in the red light from the brazier. Perhaps if you touched it to see if it was wet.
I'll very lightly run my hand down it.
As your fingers pass along the twisted bends and furrows, your senses suddenly flare. Pleasing aromas and the gentle caress of a cool breeze, like strolling in morning sun through a garden of wildflowers. You close your eyes, and you can almost see it, an idyllic landscape that quickens your soul. You touch another part of the blade, and the sensations shift with a nauseating suddenness. Acrid smoke and brimstone, coupled with a feverish heat that threatens to boil you alive. Pain and rot, a fissure of corruption greater than the ocean. As quickly as they come, these impressions vanish, leaving you panting in pitch blackness. The brazier has gone out. Sweet William no longer snores. You see black.
Can I sense anything around me?
Make a perception check.
It's not rolling. Okay.
Well, you have stone beneath you. As far as you can tell, you're still in your quarters, the Sea Tower. But all of their sensory perception seems to have left. Without warning, a sound pierces the darkness, screeching, cracking, and hissing, like metal being stretched and compressed. Torturous and dreadful. It's coming from the blade. You can feel it vibrating in your hand. And as you strain to see against the darkness, something begins to become visible. At first you think the blade is glowing, but then you realize it's your eyes. The blackness of night melts away into shades of gray as the room comes into focus. You hold up the blade and watch as it roils and contorts. Strange patterns begin to form down its length, revealing some sort of writing you've never encountered. Do you do anything?
I'll look more closely, see if it makes any sense.
The bizarre runes distort and fracture your mind. You feel as if parts of you are melting away and being replaced with something. You're still you, but somehow more. As with your powers, you instinctively know that this is the blade's doing. You look down on the now motionless blade and behold what is now written there. You understand the words. And as you read them, you seem to hear a voice echoing them in your head. Greetings, mortal. And you collapse as oblivion takes you.
All right.
And that is the end of our little sessions here. That went a little longer than I was anticipating, fellows and lady, but hopefully not everybody was bored. Let me see here. Could I have someone please roll a d6? Thank you, Tess. Why don't you roll a d6 since you were the random encounter last time?
Roll
I think
a
we're going to skip
d6.
around.
No.
I think we're going to skip the random encounter because this one, but I do need to know a 4. Let me see here. Okay, and roll it again. Interesting. All right. The first two to arrive at the Elf Song Tavern are Rim and Silas. You have a moment to talk, if you wish, before the rest join you.
Did you sleep well?
It was divine.
I think you slept on Typhon's surgical table, if I remember the previous.
I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah, okay, cool.
How about you, Rim?
It was hard and awkward. Reminded me of childhood.
Perhaps these things will bring strength.
I think so.
Tell me, Rim, are you religious?
I was not raised with faith. I seek information. I seek clarity, but I have had no guidance in that field.
As you know, I'm sure, the elves have many gods. The Seldarine have many faces.
My father has told me some stories, but not much.
Perhaps in a quiet moment I will speak to you of my lady, Vandria. She guides me. She lends me her strength. I find myself in a thoughtful moment, though. I hope you won't think me rude.
Not at all. If you are so inclined to share, I would be happy to partake in your knowledge. What is that in your hand? I don't remember you having it yesterday.
This is, it's an elven weapon. It's, sort of a... I guess the closest equivalent would be a glaive. It was a gift from my mentor, a unexpected parting gift.
A parting gift. Is he well?
Oh, he's very well, as well as he ever is. He's tougher than chewed leather. But he's leaving. He finds himself sent on an internal mission away from the city, but this is my city. And so, I am without a mentor.
I too have recently lost mine, although in much more grave circumstances. The absence is painful, but if I can offer any company, I do so willingly.
Well, as they say, happiness shared is multiplied, and grief shared is divided. So,
I like that.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Rim.
For what it's worth, that blade looks at home in your hand.
I will strive to make it so, but it is a new weapon for me. I've received training, of course, but hopefully I will put it to use, but hopefully I'm putting it to use against the right people.
Who even knows what that is anymore?
I fear that soon enough we shall know the face of evil. I call it a feeling. As though some descent is in our future.
Rim nods gravely.
And with that wonderful transition, the rest of you join Rim and Silas at the Elf Song Tavern. You haven't been given specific directions to the bathhouse, but with the directions that Tarina gave you, and asking around, and of course your own personal knowledge of the city, you are eventually able to find it. The bathhouse is a one-story stuccoed building with stained glass windows and clay roof tiles. 10-foot-tall walls enclose a large courtyard outside the southeast corner of the building. The closed wooden doors to the courtyard are engraved with images of smiling imps dancing and frolicking in water. What do you do?
I blush. I look at Dorin. He's the trained soldier here.
I look around at everyone. All right, I'll take the lead. Silas, if you would back me up, please. I'm not sure if the front is going to cause us any problems or if it's only going to start once we're deeper inside.
What do you think is in there, Dorin?
I assume the bathhouse is a bathhouse. But in case it's not.
Is this just a wall, or is it? Is it a building that we're looking at the doors of?
It is just a wall, as far as you can tell. It doesn't seem to abut against a building. This is a wall. There must be some sort of courtyard or something behind it. You can see higher than the wall, the bathhouse itself. It doesn't extend much higher than the wall, but a little bit of it does peek over. It's about 15 feet away from the wall.
And where are the nips? Like the
nips
on the gate?
Yes, there's like a fresco of gambling nymphs all on the wall here.
It's not like a gate.
There doesn't appear to be like any signage that says this is a bathhouse, but this is the only wall in the neighborhood that is decorated in this way, so it would be a fairly easy way to get people to know where it is. Say this neighborhood with the wall with the nymphs.
Well, as
That
long as we're
does-
just standing around, I'll open a door.
All
There
right.
does appear. Oh, that's fine. There does appear to be a bit of a courtyard beyond here, though. If you would like me to take a look, I can do so.
By all means.
If someone would be so kind as to steady me a bit, this is a bit disorienting at times.
Rim follows behind.
I do not have an owl. I don't think.
I will find one in just a moment here, but for now, just assume only just going to altitude and sort of taking a look from
Right.
here to see what.
I do have an owl. A hawk. I don't have an owl. I do have an owl. Here is the hawk. So you all see that? And let's see. In order to make this work, I have to put it under your control. Correct?
It can just be a different character with the name Owl or whatnot, however you'd like to.
You don't name your familiar?
It has a name. It just has not been able to communicate it to me. It would be rude to call it otherwise. So I call it Owl for the time being.
All right, Typhon. I believe you can control this owl now. Does it work?
That's an
Hey.
affirmative.
Excellent. All right. You close your eyes and go into a trance. You can still speak, and you can still feel the people and the ground around you, but your sight now becomes that of your owls. And he flies up into the air, and he sees beyond the wall. Is that showing up for everybody?
It
Yep.
is.
Good, good. I will tell you this, Typhon, and I assume that you will be reporting it to the others. I do.
Of course. Narrating as I
Yes.
observe.
This L-shaped courtyard features a trimmed lawn and nicely manicured shrubbery. A shrubbery! The yard is decorated with white marble benches and stone fountains, each in the form of a smiling nymph tipping a jug that spills water into a circular stone basin.
That's
There are
all I see?
There are windows on the bathhouse, but they are stained glass, and your owl cannot see past them. That is all
Simply
you
a
see.
courtyard beyond. Nicely decorated, though. Rather luxurious for this part of the city, I must admit. I think we can continue.
A way of getting in.
There do appear to be double doors just beyond.
Okay, let's go for it.
I will open this door next to me.
Feel free to move yourselves into the courtyard. The doors that Typhon's familiar saw are here.
Once we get inside, is there anything other than what the owl saw that we notice?
Make a perception check.
Oh, the owl's dead. Oh.
Sean, when that icon is there, I will dismiss it.
Okay. So, So I will just do this. Boop. So when you dismiss it, you mean it vanishes, pops out?
No.
Yep. Pocket dimension.
Pocket dimension. All right. So it is not there at all. Your perception check. You don't see anything other than what is around you. You see what you see. What do you do?
I look at Silas. All right, I don't see any particular reason to be circumspect about this. Shall we go in?
I follow your lead, oh fist of fire.
Bit of an eye roll at that, but sure. And I'll head in.
All right.
Follow.
Feel free to move yourselves in to what you see. All right. So you see several large basins filled with water, in which are 3 humans. The walls of this 20-foot-high pillared chamber are adorned with frescoes of bathing royalty. Natural light streams through stained glass windows, creating colorful patterns on the tiles of polished blue marble that cover the floor. 3 shallow, sunken pools contain scintillating, perfume-scented water, while marble benches bearing stacks of dry towels are situated near the pools, each of which comes equipped with a pair of brass faucets.
Are there any doors?
There are. There is a door here, and a door here. And in fact, upon hearing you enter, this door opens, and a man steps out. He is wearing a robe. He is human, slightly androgynous, pudgy, and as you walk in, he bows. Welcome to the Frolicking Nymph bathhouse. I'm afraid we are not available to serve you all at this time, but we do have one pool available. If any of you require massage, either I or my assistant stand ready to assist you.
Unfortunately, we are not here to partake in the delights of this establishment. I have official business, and I believe I would like to speak with you about it.
Ah, the Flaming Fist. Indeed. Privately?
Certainly.
One moment while I see to my guest. Please, he looks to the rest of you, make yourself comfortable. Any bathing will be free of charge to the Flaming Fist. We ask that nudity be confined to the pools. Co-ed bathing is permitted, but excessive fondling or touching is discouraged. And at that, you hear this woman sort of snort. Please follow me, Lieutenant.
That'll do, yes.
I am Jabaz. All right, so Dorin steps with Jabaz into this room. Correct? Right. The door closes.
Yep.
What do the rest of you do?
Is it this? That's a person, and
It
then
is.
the.
He
Okay.
appears to be asleep.
I'm gonna stand here, and are these people talking?
They look like you might have interrupted something coming in, and they're kind of like eyeing you all like, this is not the kind of thing that should happen in a bathhouse.
Sure.
The woman is beautiful, but much older than the boy, who is in 18, 19-year-old range and blushing beet red.
Understood.
You took me by the hand.
Indeed.
Excellent reference.
All right. Anyone else?
If they start talking, I'm trying to casually overhear them, but other than that, no.
Casually over here. Do you, if they are attempting to be clandestine in what they are saying, do you wish to make a perception check, or you just want to hear what is said openly?
No, I'm trying to overhear them.
All right, make a perception check, please. So it is as much as you suspect. The woman is heavily flirting with the boy, who is saying, I really think we should leave? Oh, darling, we were having such a good time. Do that thing with your foot again. And he turns red and is sinking into the pool and just doesn't want anybody to be able to recognize.
At that, Persephone kind of starts to tune him out. It's like, okay, these people don't know anything.
Yeah.
All right. Dorin. This room contains a massage table draped in clean towels. There are some bottles stored under the table, different colors. Natural light enters through a stained glass window set into the south wall. And Jabez says, I'm afraid I don't have much of an office. This is the best I can offer, but it is private. If you wish to sit, we could retire to the courtyard.
This'll do just fine. I'm hoping we won't be here long. And I'm hoping that you can help me and sort of ease our time here.
Well, I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about, but always happy to help the Flaming Fist.
I'll be forthright in my questioning. Do you have any knowledge of entrances to sewers or catacombs here on the premises?
No.
Do I believe him?
Roll an insight check.
Oh boy. Should have brought a friend along. Oh, sorry. Looking at the wrong thing. Insight. Yep.
You can't think of any... You look carefully to see if he had any tells to say that he was lying, but as far as you can tell, he was telling the truth.
All right. Well, that's good, I suppose. We'll be conducting a search, regardless. We have intelligence that there may be one here, and we have interest in what lies beyond.
Well, why... This is a simple establishment. There is nothing untoward going on here. You're welcome to look about, but as you can see, it's not a very big establishment. I'm certain that anything hidden would be readily visible. If you could do your search as quickly and quietly as possible and then depart, I would greatly appreciate it. And he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small purse of something that jingles.
I just look at it and say, that won't be necessary. I'll conduct my duties as quickly as possible. And I turn to leave.
All right. You do so.
Once I exit the room, I kind of flag everyone down. And in sort of a quieter voice, I guess I'm not really trying to be that careful. I say, the manager here doesn't seem to know anything. We'll have to search around, see what we can find. And then I'm gonna head towards the other door.
All right. What does everybody else do when he says that?
I'm sticking close to Dorin. He asked me to back him up, and so I shall.
I will do the same, follow.
Me too.
All right, well, you come to that door. It's very similar to the other one.
Can I open it? Yeah.
You can. Feel free to walk in.
There's someone in here, apparently.
Yes, there's a woman. She's not unattractive, but she has massive hands and bulging forearms and a kind of a no-nonsense expression on her face. If you were to get a massage from someone, this would be the person you'd want to get it from. She looks like she really knows how to tear somebody apart.
And
Well, are you my next client? She says.
No, ma'am. We're conducting a search here.
What was that?
We're conducting a search on the premises.
Oh, the
you wouldn't
flaming
happen to know
fist,
of
I
any-
see, I see.
You wouldn't happen to know of any sewer or catacomb entrances around, would you?
No, nothing like that here.
How's she... How do I gauge that reaction?
You may make an insight check. Oh, she is lying. And as she said it, she noticeably shifted to the side here. She didn't leave her space, but she sort of shifted away to her left. She's face has gone a little pale, and you see a bead of sweat beginning to appear on her brow.
I say... I see. Well, thank you for your cooperation. We'll need to keep searching around, however. If you could perhaps stand aside, we'll search here and be out of your way in just a moment.
Absolutely, yes. Don't want any trouble. No trouble for me. Good day, sir. And she sort of comes to here, and you let her pass, and she comes out. She motions to Jabaz, who comes over, and she whispers in his ear. Jabaz nods and claps his hands. Lady and gentlemen, I have to say that the bathhouse must close. We are experiencing some difficulties with the plumbing, and everyone could be in some danger. So, please, feel free to come back at a later time and enjoy our services free of charge. But I must insist that everyone leave. And he says this addressing everyone, but he obviously is referring to the customers, who begin to grumble and get out of the water, find towels, find their clothes, and one by one leave. And after they are gone, Jabez and Camilla look at each other and look at you all and also leave. Unless you stop them.
Perhaps we should stop the staff here a moment.
I'm like, agreed. They'll be staying. Do they try and make a break for it or anything?
Well, they haven't seen anybody trying to stop them, and they
I stopped
open the
them
doors. You stop them. Silas, how do you stop them?
by putting my sword on a stick, barring the door diagonally.
All right. So you move to here, correct?
Correct.
All right. Sorry, I don't mean to move you. They stop, look at each other, and sort of look scared.
Hopefully we'll be out of your establishment soon. In the meantime, I would like to keep you around in case we have any other questions. I look at my companions here. Who's good at searching out secrets? I'm better for kicking in doors myself.
I could take a look.
I could look as well, try and find any inconsistencies among this.
Let's start in this room.
All right, who's doing what?
I'm going to help guard the folks from leaving because I'm no help at all with.
They look
Would this be a
very
perception?
frightened. It would be a perception check. Actually, an investigation check, since you're looking for something specific.
Sorry, Sean, I sent it. I believe I whispered it by accident. Can you see it?
I see. Yes, I do. Do you wish to look as well? Rim, you start on this side of the room, and you don't find anything. However, Typhon starts on this side of the room, and he does, in fact, find a secret door.
Nice.
Dun dun dun.
Secret. We found a secret.
You didn't know about that door, huh?
Look, we don't know anything. We don't want any trouble. I admit I did know that there was a secret door, and this place is run by very dangerous people. We are simple bathhouse workers. We run a clean establishment, and we want no trouble. We have no information to give you. We just want to leave. Yeah, what he said.
Well, to see if I feel like they're telling the truth.
Who are you checking?
The girl.
All right. Roll of perception. Insight check, sorry. Most of what Jabez said, she was nodding and agree with, and much of it is true. However, when he said that they don't know anything else about the people who run this establishment, who own it, you could tell that there was a little twitch. That was probably a lie.
I say to the group, I think she knows more than she's saying about the people who run the place.
I barely said anything. What do you mean? Anything?
I think she's already demonstrated that you can't lie to her. So, be forthcoming. And we might just forget to tell the Flaming Fist who we found in the middle of a crime scene today.
Crime scene? There's no crime scene here, says Jabez. He looks around, and Camilla, the woman whose name is Camilla, puts her eyes down and says, I don't want any trouble with a Flaming Fist, but it just might be worse things.
There won't be worse things once we're through here.
I didn't hear that. I don't want to know anything. Just a simple masseuse.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't really care about them anymore.
They look very relieved to hear you say that.
Inclined to agree.
Unless anyone else has an issue, I think we know what our job is here.
I'm going to advise them to... I advise you both to find the safest way out of the city and far away from this life of corruption. It'll lead only to your end.
They nod. They both nod like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. Could we leave now, please?
Walk away from them and go over closer to the secret door.
They look at you, Silas. I assume you're still barring the door.
Yeah. I guess I let him go.
They leave. At the door, Jabez turns and looks at you, Falkrunn. Do be careful, Sister of Ilmater. And he shakes his head and walks away. And then they skedaddle. What do you do?
What kind of secret door do we have here?
It's very simple. It is a wooden door that has been covered with a type of plaster and canvas and then painted to look like stone. Once you've pointed out that it's there, it's relatively easy to see. It looks like it's just a simple door that has a handle and can be turned and opened.
Say we go through it. It doesn't seem like anybody very sophisticated came up with this.
I will turn the handle and push it open in that case.
All right.
Would have been a really good place for a trap. There isn't one. A foul, sewer-like stench greets you as you open it. And beyond it, you can see a staircase.
We descend.
One moment. I have to reveal the staircase.
It's not there. It's Schrodinger's staircase.
It's both there and not there. The staircase descends 20 feet. It smooth stone steps and brick walls and 2 sputtering torches in wall sconces illuminate the staircase. But the dungeon below is dark.
Using my cantrip of light, I cast it on my hammer. I turn to Persephone and say, "So I may guide the way."
Very kind of you.
And do you descend?
I look to Dorin and say, "Would you like me to take lead, or?" I'm unfortunately all too familiar with the sewer.
I guess we'll back you up. What's our marching order?
Falkrunn takes lead.
I can be
Do keep in
at
mind
the
that
front.
some of you do have dark vision, so you will not all need light. It might be useful if stealth is necessary.
Who does not have dark vision?
Imagine Dorin and Persephone
Correct.
being the humans of the group.
Persephone, what did you end up taking as your uncommon, as your common magic item?
You took one.
Yeah, I think I
Oh
forgot.
no, I think she took a health potion.
Ah, okay. Great.
Fortunately, my human eyes have become quite keen to the darkness. I've managed to develop a sense for things.
As a member of the Flaming Fist, I've also often had to deal with criminals in the night. I can see just fine in the darkness.
What do you wish we do? Should we send our rather stealthier compatriots on ahead as a scouting party and then take a rear guard?
Apparently we have a bird that we can use.
I could at least take a peek into the next room if you'd like.
Does the bird have dark vision?
It does.
Excellent.
That's why you pick an owl.
The owl.
It's an owl.
Right. Do you summon the owl? Typhon.
Yes, I shall. It has a 120 feet of dark vision, so twice as far as most of ours. Most of ours, at least.
Also got keen hearing and sight as well.
Indeed.
Well, lucky for you.
It's a frickin' sensor probe.
There is the owl, incongruously named Hawk.
God, I love that. It's like a kid's book. The
Sean,
Owl
if
Named
you check your Discord
I know.
PM,
I saw that. It's just one thing that I can't quite bring myself to handle at the moment. We've got a hawk. We're using the hawk.
He's a pointy owl.
Pointy owl. So, Typhon, you have control?
Sure. As long as I can hold on to Falkrunn's shoulder here, if she will be acquiescent.
Indeed.
If you will all move yourselves to that staircase. All right. The Roll20 has a really neat thing that sounds awesome in concept, but tends to be very problematic, called the dynamic lighting.
It will destroy your computer, I promise.
Exactly. So I have turned all of that off for this map. And while it would be really cool to only be able to see what your characters can see based on whether or not they have a light source or dark vision and all that, we are going to play this the way it would be if we were sitting around a table, which is I let you know what's in the room, and you have to keep in mind that you might not be able to see as far as other people. When we think about it, great. And when we forget it, so be it. So, Falkrunn, those of you with decent... well, actually, Falkrunn has light emanating from her handler, so she's able to see this. But the hawk sees it first. You put your hawk in the room, please, Typhon. The chamber at the bottom of the staircase is empty, unlit, and flooded with foul-smelling water to a depth of 2 feet. Moving through this water is difficult terrain. Falkrunn, it comes up to your waist.
Yep.
There appears to be a passage there and a passage there. Your hawk can actually see. Hawk flies around the room, I assume, and can see there and there.
Right, so I'm going to say a quiet prayer as I step into this foul water. Brace yourselves.
I will say a more practical prayer that isn't a prayer and cast mage armor on myself.
Mage armor is up.
Can I hear anything over the water?
Make a perception check. The sound of water and moving through water is certainly a distraction, but you feel certain that there is nothing in this particular that shouldn't be.
Am I able to? So can I tell if the water is flowing in either direction? If there's or is it just sort of stagnant?
Make a perception check. It's difficult to tell, especially now that everybody's moved in. With the people moving around, and especially yourself, you're displacing a decent amount of water. And when Rim comes in, he displaces a massive amount of water. It's a little mini tidal wave that actually comes up to your décolletage for a moment, and so you're not able to tell whether or not the water is flowing or just standing. And it smells awful.
Where shall we proceed?
Quick check, Sean. DM, this wall to the west is a flat wall.
Yes, did I not reveal it enough? There we go.
Okay.
Very good, thank you. And it appears that this room is closed completely.
That is what the owl told Typhon.
Then let's go forward.
How far is the extension of your light, Falkrunn?
And the initial, without me pumping it up at all, it is. Second, my friends. It's a bright light in a 20-foot radius and dim light for an additional 20.
All right, Silas, you could certainly see down the hall as you come around.
There are stairs going down. I'm assuming this is a tight tunnel.
It is tight. It is 5 feet.
And are these going up or down?
They are going up, out of the water.
Thank the God.
I creep up and listen. Can I hear anything?
Well, first of all, make a stealth check.
Must I?
With disadvantage, I believe.
Yes, indeed.
You are as stealthy as you can be, but
I'm dripping and wearing chainmail.
You're dripping. You slip a bit on the steps as you climb up. Now make a perception check. You're fairly certain there's nothing in this corridor.
Perhaps if someone can move quieter than I. These tight tunnels and hallways is very unpleasant. Is someone here good at being quiet?
I'm all right at it.
I'm at least not wearing clinky armor. I can move somewhat stealthily, if need be.
I thought you would have already known these tunnels by heart.
Not sure exactly what you're implying.
I also don't think it's the time.
we're not going to be sneaky, then I will listen at the door.
Make a perception check, Silas.
How many can I fail in a row? It's a door!
Again, the sounds of water and the Falkrunn coming up behind you. You know that there's nobody on the other side of that door playing in a band.
Can I tell what type of door am I looking at? Is it just a plain door?
It's a wooden door. It's rotted. Looks like it's quite old. Falkrunn, you would probably understand that this is some sort of structure, a dungeon or a catacomb that was built around the time that Baldur's Gate was first established, and then over time was built upon, and now is underground. The water is probably just seepage from nearby sewers. And the doors are part of the original structure. And since they are old to begin with and exposed to moisture on a regular basis, they are rotted and soft. But still functional as doors.
The old bones of Baldur's Gate. These walls will stand for a lifetime. These doors, however...
Shall I?
By all means.
Well, we're certainly not being stealthy about it.
Yes. Is the door unlocked?
It is.
I turn the doorknob.
Would have been another really good place for a trap. Feel free to move yourselves in the room. It is empty.
And what do we see?
Carved into each of the 3 doors that you see, including the one you just came through, is a full figure depiction of one of the dead 3.
I'd say we've found our cultists.
The east door. The face of this door bears a carving of Bane, the lawful evil god of tyranny. He's depicted as a tall, armored man. Armor has spikes. He's wearing a great helm. His right gauntlet is painted black and clutches a set of shackles. The north door. This door bears a carving of Baal, the chaotic evil god of murder. He's depicted as a powerfully built, skull-headed man with long, curved blades where his hands should be. The south door. This door bears a carving of Murkor, the neutral evil lord of bones. He is portrayed as a cloaked figure whose face is hidden under a cowl. With his skeletal hands, he clutches a screaming human skull.
And to the west?
To the west, there is no door.
What can we see?
You can see to there.
Stairwells. I have a feeling that I need to go through the door marked with Bane's image. I'm going to see if it's unlocked.
It is.
I open it.
A good place for a trap.
If someone would like to be checking for traps, I'd welcome it. Thank you so much. I move forward down the hall. I think I see stairs.
Just ask if a future doorknob makes you nervous. I'm happy to take a look at.
Indeed. When they start speaking to me and asking me about my past and present, I'll let you know.
Forgotten our owl friend.
Woo!
The owl! That's who!
Hawk the owl.
Yeah.
All right, Silas. As you reach this place, you begin to see light coming from around the corner.
You've stopped. What do you see?
Well, I'm afraid it's not a doorknob. It is a light. A stealthy person might be helpful now, or perhaps a fine feathered friend.
I will send Feathered Friend to look about.
Feathered friend. Is feathered friend being stealthy as it flies?
We'll try to be, yes.
All right. Roll a stealth check for a feathered friend. Ah, quite stealthy. The owl flies across the room and sees that. The eastern part of this room is unlit, flooded, embraced with floor-to-ceiling wooden beams. Rough-hewn steps rise out of the murky water to the western portion of the room, which is dry and lit by 2 torches and sconces that flank a stone altar. Shackled to the wall behind the altar is a sickly man in a loincloth, with a burlap sack over his head. An alcove in the north wall contains a freestanding suit of plate armor, missing its helm. Standing before the altar are 2 grim figures, a powerfully built woman clutching a mace, and an even bigger man wearing a bucket helm. The helmed man is jabbing the prisoner with a spear, causing him to twitch. Both figures are clad in chainmail, and the woman carries a wooden shield with a leering skull painted on it. And I should add that this... It should be obvious, the graphic shows it, but that pillar is collapsed and floating in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And, of these 2 lovely icons, there was one woman and one larger?
Yes, excuse me. So, that is... This is the woman. And this is the man wearing the helmet, jabbing the prisoner.
Oh.
That is the prisoner.
This is the prisoner.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, what does Hawk the Owl tell you?
It appears they have a prisoner. They are distracted in torturing him or some matter. I think for now we have the upper hand.
Typhon, both you and Silas make a stealth check for this, please. Well... Oh dear. The chuckling and... the chuckling stops from the... around the corner.
I think perhaps the time for action has arrived.
Say no more.
All right.
Do
we
it.
will roll initiative.